to Confidence. We're today talking about, this is obviously our first Tuesday of the month is our Social Savvy Tuesday. So Leah and I are bringing you guys Facebook and Instagram stories. We're really happy to always have these be collaborative. So feel free to type in the chat. Feel free to interrupt us, raise your hand. One of the cool things about stories is how impromptu and unplanned they can be, but also how fun they can be to drive traffic to your page, right? So we're going to talk with you. I'm going to kind of go through a little basics of 101, right? Like, how do I even leverage this? How do I even like post a story? What are some things to look at? But then I'm going to go through on some tips and tricks, some ideas that some of you guys may not have come across yet, but then also how to leverage. You guys, if you know me, if you've been on any trainings with me, you know how much I love analytics, how much I love tracking the efforts that you're putting into social media. So I'm going to do a deep dive with you guys on kind of what that looks like on an iPhone, or not an iPhone, sorry, in Instagram and Facebook, just to have an understanding of how can I best use these tools, right, as another way to drive traffic to my pages. And I think that's what's so important. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a brief PowerPoint, and Leah is actually going to do a demo for us through BrandServe, because some of the great stuff are in there. So she and I are going to kind of take turns sharing screens. But Leah, can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so let me adjust my seat slightly, you guys, because I feel like I'm too tall in it, but there we go. Okay, so what are stories? And I think that's one thing that I get asked a lot, right? What's the difference between a story? What's the difference between my feed? Stories are 24-hour long posts that aim to get you longer term engagement. So we've probably all heard of Snapchat, right? Snapchat is like really quick. The minute I watch it, 2 seconds later, it's gone. Feed is, it's in my feed forever, and people can scroll through and see it at any time. You know, people, sometimes I'll get likes on my Instagram from like a post like 5 weeks ago, and that's when I know someone was creeping on me. Stories are a little bit different. So they're kind of in between that, right? They can last for 24 hours. You are able to save them as well if you want. I actually auto save everything I post to Instagram, saves into my photo library, just so I always have it in case I want to rerun it. But it's also a way to engage with your audience on what are you doing day in and day out, and how can that be relatable back to them. So when you think of stories, think of them as like commercials to your business, commercials to your brand. When they work with you, this is the commercial that's going to show them what to expect, right? Everything from the fun and the personal, right? The 80% of what we post and what we do should be something relatable, not necessarily just business, right? Not just sold, it's not just coming soons, but you intermix things that you love. Like we've now learned Zach majored in fashion and he loves fashion. So intermixing things like that, I think, is so important. If you follow me, you'll know that recently I've gotten really into cooking and baking, and I've been focusing a lot of my stories around that. And what's cool is those are the things that your audience mostly engages back with. The more they engage with your stories, the more they will engage with your feed. But also, creepy algorithms that Facebook and Instagram and Google use, the more they interact with your stories, the more your feed posts are going to come across their feed, the more they are going to see you on those platforms. So it all ties together. And, you know, when we talk about branding, we talk about being holistic with that brand. You've got to think of it from all those different angles. So Facebook stories and Instagram stories can work together. You can create an Instagram story and have it automatically go to your Facebook and vice versa, or you can do one or the other. So when you're creating Facebook stories, I took 2 screenshots for you guys. And again, whether you do it from your business page or your personal page, it's going to be the same, okay? This is on my desktop, not on my phone, but it just looks the same, just smaller on your phone, okay? But you're going to click create a story. So if you look in the upper picture on the far right hand side, that's my profile picture. And you see just how it says create story. You click on the blue circle with the plus sign in it. And what happens is the lower picture. You're going to have create a photo story, right? And I did this through my laptop. So it's not pulling pictures from my phone, right? It's not giving me the option to take a photo right there. If you do it from your phone, you do have the option to take a photo right there, which is great. But you can upload a story from your desktop, right? A picture from your desktop. You can pull it from something you've posted already on Facebook, or you can create a text story. And I've got some examples for you guys in a little bit, but you just want to choose, what am I trying to convey? Am I trying to convey a photo to capture people's attention, or am I making an announcement? And am I doing a text story? And there's two different ways to think about it. And I'll kind of break that down as we go through some examples. And again, if you do it from your phone, you can take a photo right there, just not on your laptop. And the screen share is a little bit easier on my laptop, which is why I did that. Instagram stories, which I'll be honest, I live and breathe Instagram stories. They are my most favorite thing. In my between appointment time, like I'm going through Instagram stories because they're short, they're sweet. It is what it is. I can quickly skip to the next one and move on. And I think that that's what's so cool about stories. I prefer them on the Instagram platform. If you have more followers on Facebook and your sphere is more engaged on Facebook, make sure you definitely do more stories there. My sphere is way more Instagram skewed, so I make sure I post a lot there. But I've noticed that as I post Facebook ones, other members of my sphere who maybe don't engage with me on Instagram will engage with me on Facebook. So it definitely shows you how important it is to do it in both programs, in both platforms. So when you are in, this is my feed, my account, okay? So you'll notice that there's my profile picture and there's that same blue circle with a plus sign because Facebook owns Instagram, so they're just using a lot of the same visuals. You're gonna tap and hold. So tap and hold that and click add to your story. And then again, it's what are you looking for? Video, multiple photos, text, boomerang, and then your post. And I'm going to go through what kind of some of these look like for you guys. It's really very, very simple. And I know that this is about stories, but one of the things I want to draw your attention to is right below my profile picture. You guys see how I have Rachel Scheid, VP of Agent Development, City Central, Coldwell Banker Realty Chicago, and I've got a couple different tags. You want to make sure that your profile is very well completed on Instagram. And if you clicked more, you would see that I have a hashtag, which is Scheid Sells Chicago. Build that out as much as you can to be as robust as you can, because if somebody interacts with your story who maybe hasn't followed you on Instagram yet, that's going to be the first thing that they look at. And I'll be honest, I don't know how you guys operate, but I use Instagram more than I use Google. Like if I'm trying to remember somebody's face or I'm trying to look something up, a restaurant or whatever, I'll go to Instagram first because it's a powerful search engine. So having these, having your profile filled out is so important because each and every one of those words is great SEO, search engine optimization, and will help make sure that your profiles pull up higher. So when we think about what we're posting in our stories, okay, I want you guys to think about your brand. It's so important. You've got your brand and then you've got our brand backing you up. And as we've talked about so many times, the most successful agents are the ones that leverage Coldwell Banker's brand and leverage their brand. Together, those two things are going to get you to where you want to go in the business. So as you're thinking about your brand, you have to remember, I have 24 hours, right, that this video or photo is going to capture the attention of my followers. So what can I do in that photo or that video that's going to make a lasting impression, that is going to make the rounds, that's not going to make people want to skip and go to the next photo or the next video, right? So think about what you guys like to engage with. Whether it's on other realtors pages that you follow or your friends in your sphere, again, you have to play to your audience. You guys are building a brand, you're building a business. That's a huge part of it. The other thing I always like to remind everyone is stay true to your brand. Don't post things that aren't you. Don't try to front or act as if you are something that you're not, because integrity is so important and trust is really important. And in today's day and age, right, trust is established like this now. Virtually, right? I don't have to meet you and shake your hand to trust you anymore. I can read your bio, I can check out your website, I can look at your social media and decide whether or not I like you and I'm going to trust you off of that. Doesn't mean that you can't change my opinion once we do meet, doesn't mean that you're not going to lose my trust, but brand trust from consumers starts online. 100% of consumers are looking online for everything. Brand trust starts and stops there. So make sure that you're staying true to your brand and presenting the images that you want. Everything down to the color scheme to the type of things I'm posting. All of that has to come into play. I really believe in the 80-20 rule, as you all know, and that holds strong with stories as well as posts, right? So if you watch on days where I'm posting more stories, I try to weave in both personal things and professional things, business things and personal things, because I don't want it to be just real estate. I don't want it to be just business, because people are going to click through really quickly and not see the content. On the other side, we're all professionals, we're all real estate professionals, and we want to make sure that everyone remembers that, no matter if they're watching my story or seeing something in my feed. So mixing in 20% of the just sold, just listed, here's a testimonial from my client. That is really important to bring it back home. I actually really love the agents that think of, how can I be 80-20 in my story? Not out of all my stories, 80% are relatable and personal and 20% are business. But in that one picture, in that one video clip, how can I be 80-20? A really great example of this, right, is if you have a dog, let's say, taking your dog to the dog park and doing an Instagram story. You're with your dog, you're at the dog park, and you decide to talk about, you guys, I'm at the Bucktown Dog Park on XYZ, intersection. And it just dawned on me, I haven't given you a neighborhood update of what 2-bed, 2-bath condos are selling for in this area. And in that real quick bit of information, you're giving something real estate, but you're being super relatable because you're talking to the fellow dog lovers, you're visiting a dog park, which who doesn't love dogs, right? And maybe you've even gone so far as to buy your furry friend a little Coldwell Banker kerchief, so you've got that branding. But in that one post, I'm being 80% relatable, likable, fun, and engaging, but I'm giving you 20% of the information. I'm letting you know about a new neighborhood, what's happening in that neighborhood, and I'm doing it in a way that's not boring. That's not read this paragraph on what's happening in Bucktown, right? So those are some things to kind of think about. Tagging individuals and places is so important. Everything from I'm tagging a fellow profile to I'm tagging a geographic location. Both those things are important. So if I am going to XYZ restaurant and I am taking a picture of their exquisite food, I'm not just going to type their name. I'm going to tag them if they have an Instagram. I'm going to geographic tag them as well. It gets so much further. That's how the algorithms work. It also is giving your audience something, right? So if one of your things about yourself is that you are a community-driven agent, right? I was a hyper-local agent, which means I ate local, I drank local, I shopped local, and that really inspired my clients to know that I knew the areas, right? And I knew if they told me they wanted to be walking distance from the Red Line and coffee shops and nightlife, they could trust that I knew where to put them, right? I knew where to talk with them about real estate. And so when you're posting those tags, you're also making sure that your audience can experience what you're experiencing as well. So you're giving the credit where it's due, but you're also inspiring other people to follow them, to take credit. Also, a lot of times when you tag someone, they get a notification every time you tag them, and they have the choice then to share it on their page. And a lot of restaurants, a lot of shops, a lot of people will do that. They'll reshare onto theirs. And I think that that's so, so important, because then you get exposed to all of their followers. Hashtags is another thing that's so important. We've talked about hashtags a lot, Leah and I, right? Hashtags are your filing system. It is the filing system for social media. It is essentially the filing system for just everything online right now, okay? So every time you do hashtags, it just helps you get further in the audience, right? It helps get further to other people. And you guys should each and all have your own hashtag, right? Mine was Shy Sells Chicago. I encourage you to kind of think about it. Creating hashtags is one of my favorite things. So if you need help, please let me know. But even just having that on all of your posts, because it categorizes it, it really puts it all together. Going back to what I said about how others will share what you're tagged in, make sure you share what you've been tagged in. So I know I see Zach on here. I'm not sure if Laura and Matt are as well, but Matt Shrake, one of our agents out of the Gold Coast office, he's been in the business for a while. And he gave me one of his like vintage Coldwell Banker mugs, like the old logo, his old information. And I took a selfie with it the other day, which is like bringing it back old school with like, you know, the Shrake brand. And I tagged them in it and they shared it on their stories. Because it's that kind of thing that starts to spiral. When we think of the word viral, it all happens because somebody starts sharing and then the snowball effect happens from there. So always share what you've been tagged in, as long as it's appropriate and true to your brand, right? So that's the other thing to always keep in the back of your mind. And then incorporate tagging requests in your static marketing. What I mean by that is you shouldn't be sending out a single postcard or a single anything that doesn't include your Facebook and Instagram handles. That doesn't include a follow me or like me on Facebook and Instagram. And every pop by you do, every gift you give to clients, it's always a would love a tag on Instagram or feel free to tag me on Instagram, right? One client gift I did at the end of, gosh, I think 2019, I sent out, my holiday gift was drawings of their properties, right? So I had an artist do all of that. And I actually put in there the artist's information so that they could tag him. And if they were looking for any commissions, they could go to him. And several of my clients did, you know, they thanked me and tagged me. And then they were like, great art by a local artist, and tagged him in it as well. So it's those kind of ways that you can encourage your sphere to start being your marketers, right? To start marketing for you, because really word of mouth is our best way to get business. And if people are buzzing about you, you're going to get more referrals. So there's a couple different things I want to talk about in terms of how to leverage, right? And what the different things are that you can do to leverage. So when you're marketing a listing, right, you can have a couple different ideas on there, before and after posts. If you guys are using RealVitalize in any capacity in your listings, you need to do before and after posts. If your client or you are doing staging, right, or you're painting or things like that, before and after, highlight, yes, not just how great the listing looks, but what you did to help get that listing ready to sell. People love before and after posts, and I think it's so key. I mean, even if you guys rearrange your own living room or change up the own color scheme in your living room, do before and after posts. Coming soon, don't forget that you got to do that only one day in advance, because once you start marketing to the open market, you got to put an MLS within a day, but coming soon. And I just posted an example of what it would look like to do a text one, right? With the market being as hot as it is right now, I guarantee you if I had posted, I don't have a listing obviously, but if I had posted two bed, two bath Lincoln Square condo coming soon, DM me for details, and I just posted that on my Instagram and Facebook, I probably would have had like 10 realtors in my direct messages being like, I've got buyers, what price point, where is it at, what things, you know. So sometimes leaving people wanting more is really important. And don't forget, you're appealing to your audience, but you're also talking to other realtors when you post this. So that's something to keep in mind. And then open houses, and, you know, back to the Shrake group, right? So these are just different things that I have been, actually Zach, I think, posted this and I screenshotted it from his, but this was an open house, and they used a really great platform, and that actually the open house comes up from it. It was a movable one, but you see they tagged Fulton Market District to highlight the geographic tag. So there's a lot of creativity that you can do. And because people are tagged in it, you can then share it around there as well. And this was shared from the stories that they've saved on their pages. Some other things to think about is marketing you, right? Just as much as we're marketing just sold, just listed, open houses, congrats to my buyer, it's inspection time, you're also marketing you. So you'll see there's another Shrake group, but then there's also Laura Rahilly out of our Lincoln Park office, who was, you know, taking a selfie in a big mirror in one of her listings, a busy Saturday, inspection, buyer tour, rental tour, listing showings, happily nonstop. Posts like this are so engaging because the photo is what people are liking, right? They're like, oh my gosh, she looks so cute. Oh, I love that rug. Like, what a great mirror. But she's still offering content. She's highlighting to everyone in her sphere how much she's doing on a Saturday, and she's got it with a smile on. Like, this is, as a realtor, where I want to be. I want to be so busy on a Saturday that I don't even know if I can eat lunch, right? I mean, I want you guys to all eat lunch, but those are the great times, like the great days, and you've got the smile. So some different things to think about is the testimonials. I'm in love with hashtag testimonial Tuesday. Every Tuesday posting a testimonial, and I recommend keeping them about as long as the one that you see there. So even if you have to kind of copy and paste or pull one line out. I've actually been seeing a lot of realtors request that they can use a photo from their client or their house, which most are more than welcome to do because they want to support you in your business. Hashtag Testimonial Tuesday goes really far. The out and abouts, like what Laura was doing, the appreciation, right? Shout out to my clients for XYZ. Shout out to my attorney for working till 9 o'clock last night, way past normal attorney hours. Shout out to my lender for XYZ. Shout out to my dry cleaner for helping me get my suit in time for my listing presentation today. Again, doesn't scream real estate, but because I weaved in for my listing presentation today, right? It's just a great way to highlight that, bringing it back to the business without focusing solely on the business, which I think is important. And then we've talked about this when we've talked about branding and social media, right? I'm a big believer in like having those 3 things that are inherently you, that don't really have anything to do with real estate, but can relate back to real estate. And once you identify what those 3 things are, some of our agents, it's running, right? I'm an avid runner. I do not relate to that because I hate running. I think it's really silly. But if that's you, do you, right? Post about that. For some people, it's I volunteer, right? That's one of my 3 things is I give back, I volunteer. Local was one of my others. So I eat, I shop, I drink local. Then I'm hyper focused on growth. Those are my 3. For some, it's family, right? For some, it's I am a collector of XYZ, or I'm a big sports fan. Whatever it is, think about how can I put that out into the world, and it doesn't scream real estate, but it can relate back to real estate in some way. I'm a big believer that if people are remembering you for things non-real estate related, they will always remember you for real estate. Give them reasons to engage with you. Give them reasons to chat with you, because then when real estate comes across their mind or one of the minds of their sphere and they bring it, they're going to like, oh, I was just talking to Zach the other day. I think he's in real estate. You should talk to him. And I think that that's one of the most powerful things I learned when I went solo and I moved off my team is if you can engage with people and constantly have conversations that aren't centered around, hey, do you have a referral for me? But you've engaged with them, you've related to them, then anytime that there's a whisper of real estate around them, your name is fresh in their mind. That's how you build a successful business, right? In addition to all of the other things like farming them, mailing to them, but stories are a great way to have that conversation starter and see where it can go from there. So I'm going to let Leah take this over before I finish the rest of the presentation, but Leah's actually going to do a live demo of going into BrandServe, because that's the other thing, right? 80% real estate, or 80% is going to be relatable in ways not specifically real estate, but 20% real estate. And we've created some amazing stories that are engaging. Like all 4 of these templates are templates that your clients can engage with, right? And people love quizzes. People love answering questions on there because it gives them a platform. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're in this culture now where people love having that platform. All of a sudden, people from 4 states over who would have never known who I am can like know me and see my answers to this. And that is such a crazy thing that's never been around before, and now it is. And so anytime anybody can engage like this, you want to take advantage of it because it makes them feel special. It makes them feel like people are paying attention to them in their lives. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick and let Leah go ahead and do her demo on how to get those from BrandServe.
Thank you, Rachel. So I am going to share my screen with you all. Okay, Rachel, can you see my screen okay?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, perfect. So BrandServe, if you are not familiar, is your go-to for all digital assets, social media, logos, disclaimers, etc. But for today, we are going to focus on those social stories. So as soon as you get into BrandServe, you'll select marketing assets at the top. You'll hover over social media and then over to the left. Sometimes I've seen that menu option to the right, so just be mindful of that. but it will pop out here and then you'll select stories. So very straightforward. Okay, so it does show that you have 4 templates available, which is a little misleading because I believe there are 7 templates total. If you download this Ask Me Anything template, all 7 templates will download in a zip file. So just as soon as you go to marketing assets, social and stories, click on this Ask Me Anything template here. This is a great template to use once a week or twice a month. So we want to select order now. Now these assets do not cost, and that may be a little misleading as well. So you'll scroll down and select place order. Okay. We'll come down here to the right and you'll select distribute file, get file now. So BrandServe is mobile friendly. So if you are looking to do stories and not looking to email these story templates to yourself, you can go into mycvdesk.com on your phone and download from there. So we'll open up the zip file here and extract. Okay. If you're working on a Mac, I don't think you need to extract. So you see all the templates here. And I believe there are 7 available. And the best part I like about this is the suggested copy. Is this suggested copy? No. I thought this was suggested copy. Okay, so this just gives you more of a tutorial on how to share your stories. I know Rachel mentioned reposting. So these are great reposting options. Bingo, My Dream Home, Challenge Accepted. So just think of that extra exposure that you may get when others repost your stories. And that is pretty much it in terms of these templates here. So as soon as you download the templates, they are ready to go. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Leah. You guys, that was so easy. And I have to say, I didn't even realize that there was 7 until yesterday when I was building out these examples. And I was like, oh my God, there's just so many on there, which I love. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, but I'm going to stay on this and chat with you guys a little bit more about how to leverage these, okay? Because the point of the BrandServe templates is to fill it out yourself and then tag people you want to fill it out, but also make it an opportunity for anyone. So the way that you would do it is you would post, let's just go off of the this or that, okay? So I would go, and I've actually done this one, it's so fun. So I would put this in my story and then do the circle, do the writing option on my story and circle my this or that, my this or that, this or that, and then tag either 1 or 2 people. So I could tag Curtis and Drusy and Zach and Isali in it. My next post immediately after that is just this blank template. Because then what they can do on their phone, and Zach is like, huh, Rachel tagged me in something. He's going to look at it and he's going to be like, all right, I'll do it. And then on the next story, he's going to have the opportunity to screenshot it. And then once he screenshots it, he can put it in his stories. So that's the way to use this. You always do your first post, you fill it out. Your second post, you send a blank one, right? And you say, now it's your turn. And people can screenshot it and kind of go from there. So it's actually really, really fun to be able to do this. I actually love the small business shout out ones. I think people think, right, we're all about supporting small businesses, local business now more than ever. And I think it's a great way. And instead of just typing best pizza, Lou Malnati's, right, tag them. Tag them. This is what using the tag is about, right? Best coffee, tag them. Local restaurants, tag them. What else am I craving? Tag them, because that's a great way to get them engaged as well and see that you're focusing on them. Okay, so now let's talk about analytics, my most favorite thing in the world, okay? So don't forget, always track what you're posting and how it's trending with your followers. And I have a couple screenshots on the next page to show you guys how to do it. But tracking is so important, especially with your stories. Stories are the best way to get quick engagement, to grow engagement with your base, but then also get new followers from it, also get new people viewing your screen. Think of it as, again, it's that commercial. It reaches more people. Okay, there's a reason why commercials still sell out on TV or YouTube sells commercials, because brands understand that short and sweet snippets of something is what is enticing to a consumer to explore more. And if from that short snippet, I'm engaged enough to actually check out your profile, or I'm engaged enough to actually buy your or look into buying your product, there's like an 80% more chance that I'm going to buy the product or that I'm going to look into it. And I think that that's something that's really powerful to remember. Think about all the different commercials we've seen. I just bought something off of Instagram stories I saw. TBD if it's going to be great, but it was one of those things where it was just short and sweet enough that I was like, I'll see what that's like. I went to the website and I'm like, well, I'm here, might as well buy it. That's what consumers are thinking about, okay? Test out creating corresponding feed posts with stories. So what I mean by that is use a story, short, sweet, captivating, to push people to your feed and have the feed post that you want them to engage with ready and there. Great example. You just use RealVitalize on a listing. You just did staging there, new photos. The before and afters are amazing. Your before and it's about to come on the market tomorrow. Your before and after and your stories are you're there live. You're showing, a video of you walking through the property and you're going to say, but wait until you see this kitchen, you guys, check it out in my feed. And the picture in your feed is this amazing gourmet kitchen with your listing coming soon, live tomorrow. DM me, direct message me for showing requests, right? So you can use your story as that commercial. You can use that story to be like, hey, don't forget to go to my page because the rest of the story is there. Leave them wanting more. Through analytics, you can also identify which stories get the most traction, okay? And then repeat similar ones throughout the week, okay? There is no reason to try to sit there and rack your brain on how can I be super creative and individual and stand out amongst everyone else. Newsflash, there's very little things that are totally original ideas anymore. I mean, TikTok has pretty much ruined that for everybody, right? Like there's a million dances that I have yet to learn. There's all these different types of things out there. And honestly, just figure out what works best for you and your followers. What did you post that actually got new followers? Right? Which is the real goal. We want to continue to grow that audience and to continue to grow our sphere. And if you're not tracking what people are responding to, you're going to miss the boat on posting it, because you might think something's interesting and keep posting more of that. And then you realize when you look at analytics that nobody cares about that, right? So how are you going to adjust for that? And then use questions to increase engagement. So just like on this or that, would you rather build your dream home? Would you rather be in the mountains or the beach? Traditional or modern? Guest house or 6-car garage? Same thing with questions. What would you rather wake up to? Skyline or the suburbs, right? Or the lake or the skyline? Are you more high-rise condo luxury living, or are you more single family home, in Portage Park? Whatever it might be, people love that. This or that. Which photo do you think is the best? Which coffee do you think I should get? Which donut do you think I should get? Oh my gosh. And like, sometimes I'll like vote on things and realize that the next post is actually them showing the results, but you're just compelled to vote on it when you see that. And you're going to get so much more engagement when you do that. So really consider that as you guys think about what can I post. So this is the best way to check analytics, okay? When you're in your Instagram, this is from my phone, Instagram, like I put in the chat, is really designed more for your app on your phone and less for a PC or a desktop. So just so you know, it always tends to work better on there. But when you go there and you go into your settings, and you go into your stories and you look at your analytics, actually you just click insights on your phone. I'm just pulling up my Instagram so I can make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Yep. On your main page, you click insights. And when you click insights, it's going to ask you, do you want insights for your feed or do you want insights for your stories? And it'll highlight for you what you've done in the last 14 days. So in the last 14 days, I had 21 stories. out of that, you notice, let's go from left to right, right? In the first one with replies, this means people chatted me, right? They saw my story and it compelled them to write something back. Okay, take a look at where that is, right? So I did this beautiful pie for Easter. So good, not worth it in the long run. Those lattice tops to pie are just really difficult, but it was delicious. That's all that matters. I had 9 separate people respond to that, right? And that's what those numbers are at the bottom. And when people respond, that boosts your algorithms. And now those people are going to see more of my feed posts and more of my story posts coming up first in their feed and their story options, okay? Reach, which is the middle one, is how many people saw your posts. So you could dive even deeper and say, okay, out of these posts, I had this many replies. What's my ROI, my rate of return on reach to replies? You can go that in depth and nitty gritty, but it gives you the idea as well as how many people are actually viewing my stories in that 24 hours that they're running. The other thing to think about, right, and this is going to like bash me a little bit, but the 3 pictures, so the last one in the top row and the 2 end ones in the middle row, those are all from like the same evening. It was car sales awards. And it's interesting because you can see that I had differing reaches, which means that people probably just didn't feel like continuing to click through and look at my stories, so it wasn't as engaging as maybe people thought. So really think about that when I'm doing a succession of stories. Are people actually watching all the succession, or did I lose them? And if I lost them, why do I think I lost them? And how can I change things to do it a little bit differently in the back end? Profile visits. So that's how many people saw my posts and went to my profile, saw my stories and went to my profile and took a look. So it's kind of interesting to kind of go through there, and that's organic people that don't already like me. So, or well, maybe they don't like me, but who aren't already following me. So think about, okay, so this one I reposted of a bakery post, that was captivating enough for someone to go and check my page. So these are really important ways to check your analytics. There's a couple other options actually that you can look at when you look at your stories for analytics. You can get very nitty gritty. You can see if you're an agent who wants to put questions and answers, right? Or call me or email me, you can see how many taps you get on that. You can see how many people exited your story, meaning they didn't watch it all the way through. You can see how many people went to the next story and they continue to watch your stories. You can see links clicked. So if I shared if you shared your link, right, to your website, to your IDX search on CB Homes, you can see how many people actually clicked into that. So it's really, really great to kind of go through your analytics. And I hope you're all doing that right now. I mean, I hope you're all paying attention to me, but I hope underneath where I can't see you, you're looking at your Instagram analytics to see what's going on. Now, one thing I will tell you, I have a business account. I have a business Instagram account. If you guys have been in any trainings with me, you know how strongly I feel about having a business account. That's how you get analytics. Okay, that's how you're going to be able to track all of these different things. So really consider, can I move over to a business account? Okay, now before we go to questions, and also anyone who has other helpful tips or tricks or wants to chime in, I wanted to chat with you guys about some do's and don'ts, some best practices. Let's start with the do's, and this is always where everyone gets tripped up and mad at me. I suggest you guys post 3 to 5 times a day. I know it's a lot. It's not a feed post. It's a story post though. It can be super quick. It can be I'm out walking the dog. It can be my hair blew up in this crazy like wind in the loop when I was doing properties. It can be silly, it can be fun, it can be relatable, but do try to post 3 to 5 times per day. And the reason why I save all my posts, I have Instagram defaulted to any feed or any story post I do automatically saves to my photos. The reason I do that is because let's say I look at my analytics, I'm like, oh, people really liked this. I'm going to repost that photo like 3 weeks later when people forgot that I posted it before. Because it's 24 hours and it goes away. Nobody's remembering that, okay? So I do that by default so I can keep track of what I'm posting, and it's kind of crazy how much you can learn about your audience and their behaviors when you do things like that. Do use hashtags and tags to get more engagements. Again, can't stress that enough. Do be creative. I really encourage you. I mean, that's what TikTok is born out of. That's what Instagram stories are born out of, is people being creative and sharing their visions. So don't stray away from that. Again, captivate people with more than just real estate. If you're real estate all the time, it's going to get boring. It's going to get a little tired and people are going to keep scrolling past, okay? Use stories to give quick answers and updates, right? So that story again, if I'm walking my dog through Bucktown to the dog park, I'm going to give quick snippets on what's happening in that market. I'm going to get quick answers. Hey guys, I've been getting this question a lot lately from my clients. Yes, you do need a pre-approval in order to write an offer. Send me a message if you're curious about how to do that, right? But at the same time, leave them wanting more. Don't be that person. Now I'm going into the don'ts, right? But don't be that person that's long-winded. Don't be that person that has 17 stories to explain one story or instance that you're sharing. You're going to lose your audience. And I know that there's no concerts happening right now in person, but also when we go back to that, don't be that person that like live streams a concert in story form. Nobody wants to see that, right? So think about, as you're thinking about those don'ts, you know, you got to make sure that you also don't make people wait for the point. Okay. Same thing with being long-winded, but you want to get straight to the point. You want to hit that punchline if it's a joke. You want to make them understand what you're looking at. One of my pet peeves is when there's like all these stories and it says, someone's typed in wait till the end. So you're like, okay, it must be good if you're telling me to wait till the end. And the ending is terrible. It's so silly. They're just like zooming in on like a bird or something. And you're like, okay, why did I wait till the end of that? So it's crazy to think about this, okay, you guys, but our attention span is now like the length of stories. It's 6 seconds. I've decided within 6 to 10 seconds if something was a waste of my time or worth my time. And if I feel like it was a waste of my time in that 6 to 10 seconds, I'm not going to watch the rest of your stories. I'm just going to click right through, or I'm just going to bypass you automatically and go to the next person. It's crazy to think about it, but it's true. Our attention is captured within that first 6 to 10 seconds in everything. And so when you have stories that are quick and they're meant to capture people and they disappear within 24 hours, you have to think in terms of 6 to 10 seconds. What am I posting that's going to capture someone and want them to keep scrolling through my stories and visit my profiles? So you got to keep that in the back of your mind. Don't alienate your audience. You guys have heard me talk about this before. We all have our personal opinions. We all have our personal opinions about politics, about religion, about schools, about really anything under the sun. And we are living in one of the most opinionated cultural eras ever. And like before, someone from Timbuktu can see my posts and wow, that makes me feel so special. In that same vein, someone anywhere could see what my opinion is on that. So make sure that if you're choosing to voice an opinion that could be controversial, you make that conscious decision on, am I going to alienate my audience and do I care if I'm alienating them? Okay. And that kind of goes in line with the next two. Don't forget your affiliations. Who are you representing? You guys are all your own independent contractor, but your independent contractors who affiliated with Coldwell Banker Realty. So you are representations of Coldwell Banker Realty when you're out there. If you serve on a nonprofit or you serve on a board, you're representing them as well. Drucy, Nakia, and I are all on the board of directors. Nakia is obviously the president this year. We represent the Chicago Association of Realtors when we post things because we're on the board of directors, right? We might not be pitching them out, but it reflects on us and it reflects on the association that we are representing because we're a part of. So think about, do I serve on a charitable board? And if I post this, is that going to, be a problem for them? So kind of think about it. It's not meant to scare you guys, but you are professionals and you are running a business, and it's important to remember that. Don't disparage other companies or agents. I cannot stress this enough, you guys. Remember your ethics laws, remember your license requirements, and NAR's new rule about disparaging and hate-filled speech on Facebook and Instagram. That stuff matters. That stuff counts. And we, across the industry, I see a lot of posts about other companies, disparaging them from other realtors. And remember that you are not allowed to do that. You're ethically and legally tied to making sure that you have fair treatment of all of your fellow realtors and brokerages. Just because you don't like something or have an opinion on it doesn't mean that you got to share it on social media. My last note is kind of funny, but I can't stress this enough. Please don't use too many boomerangs, okay? When boomerangs came out, every post, I felt like every story was somebody like clinking champagne glasses or clinking wine glasses or like doing the hair flip in a boomerang. And don't get me wrong, I love a good boomerang. You'll see me post maybe once every two weeks a good boomerang. Be creative with the boomerang. Think about what you want to do with the boomerang, but boomerangs get a little bit tired and a little bit overdone, in my opinion. So with that, I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen, and because we got about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to go to the chat and see if anybody had any questions for me. But or if anybody has anything that I don't see any questions, anything anybody wants to contribute. Oh, one thing is, I know Maria was asking me to show how to do a story from my Facebook on my desktop. So I'm going to do that real quick for you guys. Share my screen. And again, this is on my desktops. This is my Facebook. Leah, are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes, I'm sorry, you can't hear me?
No, you're fine. Perfect. Okay, so this is my personal page that I'm on. It's going to be the same create a story as it would be on my business page. So here, you just create a story in this upper area. And you'll notice again, because I'm on my laptop, I'm not my phone, it's not giving me the option to take a photo. So I can either create a story, which means I can take a photo, upload a photo. And I'm going to just take one that I had on my computer. And then I can go through and I can play around with it. I can add text, right? I can say, check me out, and add that. Of course, it's white, so I probably should have changed that color for you guys. There we go. And I can move things around, okay? And then I would just click share to story. I'm not going to do that because this is a terrible photo to share, so I'm going to discard, right? And you can discard. You can also create a text story. So this is where you can start typing and say, you know, 2-bed, 2-bath, Lincoln Square condo, DM me for details. And I can change the font, I can change what the background looks like, you know, and be a little bit creative with that. I will say the computer doesn't allow you to do as many cool things as the phone allows you to do. So most of the time when I post stories, I would actually argue like 100% of the time that I post stories, it's from my phone, right? Either from my Facebook app or from my Facebook app or from my Instagram app. Maria, I feel the same on TikTok real estate, but don't worry. And Gonzalo, I see your question about Twitter and LinkedIn. So we actually did do a really great LinkedIn, Leah and I, a couple of weeks ago. So that's in my YouTube channel, but Twitter is definitely up on our Social Savvy. So no worries. And we're going to tackle TikTok, you guys, because I feel about TikTok the way that I feel like baby boomers felt about Facebook. Okay. And now look what Facebook is. Okay. So we can't deny that Instagram and Facebook are things that people, right, never thought would be what they are today. And they're here. And so TikTok, I know, Zach, I know you guys, it is what it is, but if you can't beat them, you got to join them. And Leah's like, hello over here. I love it. I like watching people's TikToks. Right. See, it's nice to be a voyeur, and that's what social media has become. Let's see. Leah, do you want to touch on the Coldwell Banker stories or the stickers? Pardon me.
Yeah, I was just looking through Instagram, and I'm not an Instagram story expert. My apologies, but and I don't want to show you what they look like here. But when you go to Instagram to add your story or to create text, you can click on the photo icon for the Jiffies to search Coldwell Banker or Coldwell, and they'll bring up different stickers that you can add to your story, such as open house, just sold, and they change all the time. And I see some agents have their own branded stickers here, so I'm not sure about that, but if you just want to have a just sold or open house or just listed, the Coldwell Banker Instagram stories are great. Stickers are great to add to your stories.
See, that's why I like using it from my phone. So like Leah said, when you go in there on your phone, the possibilities are endless. You can use GIFs, you can use stickers, you can use a lot of different things to kind of move around. And what I like about things that move is it pauses people to watch it, right? As opposed to just like a static photo. People think like one glance, I got it. But if something moves, right, in your peripheral, you're compelled to look and see what that is. And so I actually don't have any stories up right now. Shame on me, but I was going to send you guys to go ahead and look at that. But I think that, I love using it. And one of the things that you can do is you can type in like for Easter, you guys may or may not have seen my stories around Easter to see that I own like 45, no less than 45 bunny related items in my home. That is what I showcase every Easter, and it's grown. It's really just, I love it. And now actually some of you are tagging me in things like Crystal Riley out of Lincoln Park sent me these bunnies that need adoption and she thinks I should take them. I think Adam might, not be down with that, but I would search bunnies in the stickers and the GIFs and attach them to the thing. So there's like little bunnies hopping on my picture that I was doing. And again, it just really like captivates it. Think of it as like elevating what I'm already putting out there, right? Zach, if I took those bunnies, they'd have to come with me to work. Drusy and Nakia would have to be down. They would feature like in all of our trainings. They'd be like, we'll show you how to tweet. Okay. So, the challenging part, you guys, honestly, in showing, oh my gosh, Zach, he's going to cook up my bunnies and eat them. The challenging part of training on this virtually is that if we were in person, I would be able to cast my phone to like the big screen and actually show you in real time what I'm doing. I can't do that through Teams. So that being said, Leah is available to help you and to help you navigate. I'm also here if you guys are in the office ever and you're like, hey, can you just like show me how to do this? It really is, you don't need like a 30-minute training. You need like 5 seconds of our time, anybody's time to be like, how did you do that? And once you see it, you're like, oh, cool, I got it. The other thing that you can do is if you FaceTime us, we can share our screens on FaceTime. I mean, you can't FaceTime Leah, but if you FaceTime me, I can share my screen and like show you what to do. But for some reason, Teams, it's like a little bit more complicated to share your screen and navigate through. So with that, I don't see any other questions in the chat. You guys, I'm going to stop recording now. But have a wonderful rest of your day. I fully